The ATAF Women in Tax Network was started in 2021, in March 2021, and the focus of the network is two-pronged. One is we look at tax policy and how gendered is tax policy. And please visit our website and have a look at our first research paper that looks at 16 ATAF member countries. We are busy with our second research paper, and I will invite all of you who are interested in joining this research to please email us at ATAF Women in Tax Network to join the research. The second aspect that we look at, and which will be the focus of today's tax time, is leadership. So on leadership, the ATAF Women in Tax Network has held last year the first leadership conference. And in December this year, on the 8th of December, we will be holding the second ATAF Women in Tax Network Leadership Conference on the 8th of December, which will be virtual. And we invite all of you to join us. Other aspects of leadership that we are looking at is to introduce a Women in Leadership program only for women in tax. So it will be specific, and the modules will be developed looking at what will help women in tax in increasing their leadership footprint. The next thing, which is what we are focusing on today, is our mentorship program. So in April this year, we launched the pilot for the ATAF Women in Tax mentorship program. We are now at the end of the 2022 pilot, and today we're going to hear from all these formidable women about their experiences during the trip. We are going to hear from some mentors who have many years of experience, and some mentees who have just started their careers in tax. So before we start today, before we start listening to the women that have been mentors and mentees in this program, let me first turn to the newest Women Commissioner General in the ATAF, amongst the ATAF membership, and that is Ms. Regina Chimasa, who is the Commissioner General for Zimbabwe Revenue Authority. And welcome to you, Commissioner General. But before I hand over to you, let me tell you a little bit about the Commissioner General. She has over 28 years of experience in taxation, looking at various aspects in the compliance and fiscal space. She started her career, so she is someone that has started from the bottom. She started her career in 1994 as a tax assessor in the then Department of Taxes before they became a revenue authority. And before her appointment on the 1st of September 2022, she was the acting Commissioner General of ZIMRA. And prior to that, she was the Commissioner of Revenue Assurance at ZIMRA. She has been with ZIMRA in many positions over the last many years, which includes domestic taxes, customs and excise, as well as leading some of the strategic transformation initiatives of ZIMRA and linking the stakeholders to the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority. So that is stakeholders in terms of the various role players in the tax field, including increasing the engagement with taxpayers. And in 2022, she influenced the launch of the ZIMRA's Women platform, Women in Taxation, which was launched in March this year. The platform also has two areas that they look at. One is the issues that affect women in taxation field, and the second is that it addresses the challenges that women in business face. So with that introduction, let me hand over to the Commissioner General, who will share with us her leadership journey and what has she seen as some of the opportunities and challenges during this journey, which started off as a tax official. So over to you, Commissioner General.
Thank you so much, Vasha. And thank you and for giving me this opportunity to share this auspice platform, ATAF Women in Taxation. So my journey has been exciting, having started off as a tax assessor in 1994. And you find that over the period, I have been assigned various roles. And one thing that I've learned in my growth in taxation has been that ability to be agile, that ability to have a learning attitude when you get posted in different spaces. I have moved from different sections, different divisions, and some of them, they were quite challenging. Some of the areas I wasn't conversant with, but I think it was just that ability or that attitude that I can learn something new that then helped me develop in my career. So looking at the past 28 years, education and capacity development plays a key role in leadership. You need to move with the times, learn new things. And I remember in 2010, I was part of the middle career program for ZIMRA, which was focusing on females. And we were given an opportunity to go and train in Germany. We did a double header, which was basically, it was customs focused. I did a master's in customs administration, law and policy, which is a replica to the taxation side of issues. But I also did an international leadership development program, which was a game changer to my career. And I think that willingness to step out, I think then I had young children, and I was busy reflecting, should I go to Germany, different language space, just living a family. So it was a decision that I made, and I have absolutely no regrets about it. So education and capacity building appetite is one of the key things that can help us in our mentorship or in our leadership development. I also look at family support. I think family, I'm not just speaking just to my immediate family, but I'm just looking at the work support that you have, the global support that you have. It's your part of our family. And I've seen the various inputs that have come in through the family support, mentoring. Some people come in as mentors as well. When I came back from Germany, there was a restructuring that was happening in ZIMRA. And I quickly took up the opportunity and I applied for the next job. And I was just jumping in from a junior manager and applied for a senior management post. And I tell you, it was just exciting because I took that step of faith and applied. The rest was history. Did I know the job? No, I didn't know the job. But one thing that I learned from that, take the step of faith, you have support at the next level. And I tell you that my boss, he was Mr. Kuswinswa, he's now late, he was the Commissioner for Customs in ZIMRA. He took time to mentor us. Sometimes it was difficult. He was really hard sometimes. But when I reflect back, it was worth it. So mentoring can be very hard sometimes. You know, you're asked to do the toughest things under the sun and you're thinking, don't they have a heart, you know? But at the end of the day, when you reflect upon it, you find that it was worth the salt. So for all those who are being mentored, hey, it's worth the salt. The other issue that I've also learned in my journey is a passion for the job. I think having come back from 1994, you can only stick around in taxation through passion. So you must be excited with the job. You must be excited with the fiscal space, how you're contributing to the development of your nation. We are there to assist government to bring about economic development in our nations. So having that passion has really assisted me to grow as a leader, assisted me to remain strategically thinking and focused, so that at the end of the day, when I reflect back, I start looking at the results. What is it that I've been able to deliver? And that's all about leadership. It's all about results. It's all about ensuring that you contribute in your small way, in your big way, in the space, in the fiscal space where you are domiciled in. Issues of values. Values are important. I think as an authority, we started off with 3 values, which is integrity, transparency, and fairness. And now we have added 2 more: commitment and innovativeness. And I've seen, if you don't live the values, it's very difficult to develop in leadership. Every leader has got a value system that they adhere to. And for me, integrity has been one of the key values that I've tried to maintain. Commitment to my job is one of the issues that drives me, despite negative issues that might be coming through. And lastly, but not least, issue of positive attitude and just having fun. Sometimes, as tech people, we are perceived as, very tough. And especially if you've done investigations, it's even worse. you
So I think we've lost the CG there for a minute. CG, can you still hear us? Okay, that's fine. If you can leave your camera off and continue, CG. Okay, so while we're waiting for the CG to connect again, let me just reflect on some of the things she has said. I think one of the things that's very important is about the values and about living the values of your organization. I mean, I think that all of us have grown up with that. At SARS, for example, it was the higher purpose that every staff knew about. And I think every revenue authority has that. Leadership development was important, and that is what assisted her in her development to becoming the Commissioner General. An important thing she's mentioned about mentorship is that it's not just the mentorship from the internal, from the revenue authority, or from some of the partners that she's worked with. An important aspect was the support from families. So I think that is important for us all to note that, a lot of us would not have been where we are today if it wasn't for the support from our families. And that starts with our spouses, but also our extended families and our children. Then there is she's also spoken about taking the step of taking the leap and going for something that you may not be completely ready for, but being able to work with all of those people around you and being able to step up into the position that you've been appointed to. Now, CG, if you could tell us what would be the message that you would like to send to all the younger women in the field of taxation and those mentees that are around us. Back to you, CG.
Thank you so much, Fasha. I think for me, just be strong. Take the leap. Things will get sorted on the way. Yeah, really. I think for me, I started off 2022. I was asked to act when the acting Commissioner General left ZIMRA. Was I ready for it? No, I wasn't ready for it. But I say to myself, okay, it won't kill me. Let me just go for it. But 6 months down the line, 7 months down the line, I then took another step and I said, I'll apply for the job. And I got the job. And all I'm saying is, for me, it's a testimonial to say, when you take the step of faith, you definitely land somewhere higher, definitely not below. And also what I'll also urge the other mentees is learn as much as you can. I also came on board in 2021 when Women in Taxation Forum asked for nominations from women leaders in ATAF countries. I came on board and I learned quite a lot from you, Vasha, all the other senior ladies. I was listening, but I also learned a lot, and it also helped me, especially in 2022, to say, if they did it, definitely I can do it. So ladies, there is only one way: get mentored and get to the top. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner General, and let us give a round of applause. I'm also I am so happy to know that you were one of our founding members of the ATAF Women in Tax Network. And today we have with us, as the mentors and some of the mentees, some of the founding members as well. So it's going to be a good afternoon listening to the mentors and the mentees, and we will come back to you, CG, at the end if there's anything else that you would like to share. So I'm now going to hand over to my colleague Bernie Dean Kemis, who has been one of the people together with Nana that has been running the ATAF Women in Tax Mentorship Program and the pilot program. Back over to you, Bernie.
Thank you so much, Varsha, and welcome to all our listeners. My name is Bernadine, and I'm from the African Tax Administration Forum, as Varsha said, and also part of the ATAF Women in Tax Network team. So following the informative introduction that we received from CG Regina, based on this, as Varsha mentioned, is that we decided to have a mentorship dialogue to give the mentors and the mentees an opportunity to share their experiences with others. And with this being said, I would like to introduce you to the two mentors at first. And we have Mrs. Nirala Ramalal. And Mrs. Ramalal has over 47 years of work experience in the field of nursing, human capital, career management, and organizational and leadership development. Her fervent aspirations led to a focus on people development, and especially in the field of leadership. And Ms. Ramalal, her qualifications include a master's in business administration, advanced business program, bachelor's degree in technology, and a Bachelor of Arts degree. We would like to thank you, Mrs. Ramalal, for availing yourself to be part of this mentorship dialogue today. And then also as a mentor, we have Ms. Lucky Star Miandazi. And Lucky Star is a tax specialist and the Africa coordinator for the Tax Inspectors Without Borders at the UNDP, the Africa Sustainable Finance Hub. She coordinates the Tax for SDG initiative, focusing on domestic resource mobilization for a renewed social contract in Africa. Lucky Star holds a Master of Science in Taxation from the University of Oxford, United Kingdom, and a master's degree. And please excuse me, this is a very difficult university name. It's a master's degree from the Università Cattolica del Sacro Cuore in Italy. So guys, thank you so much. These are our mentors. And for now, I would like to ask the mentors to please give us a little bit of more insight on your experience during the pilot. And also, how have you helped your mentee to understand what the skills and experience are and how they can actually begin researching and developing their own? And also, what have you learned during the pilot that worked well for you and your mentee that you would like to share with us? Nirala, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Program Director, and warm greetings to all the women on the African continent. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate ATAF and the initiative led by Varsha and the team in offering this opportunity and allowing us to enrich the work of leadership, because I believe that leadership is a universal phenomenon, and the fact that we all come together to make this contribution can be just a very enriching and rewarding program. So congratulations to Commissioner General. I think your experience is a true testimony of how we can support each other in leadership development and the work that we do. So in terms of the process, I'd like to describe that first on how we got into, and I'd use coaching, mentoring interchangeably. So the process included firstly on reaching an agreement that the mentee that was assigned is in agreement to have me as a mentor. And I think ATAF helped greatly in that process to make sure that we have a matching and that the interests and the outcomes that the mentee aspires to can be offered by the mentor. We established a relationship at the outset to understand the individual and also to sign a formal agreement so that we create a safe space for discussions and for the outcomes that the individual seeks. In terms of the process, it was about an intake. And I think our Commissioner General mentioned something about, family and who we are. So when we look at the coaching mentoring relationship, we look at the individual in her entirety. We look at the different world she operates in, which is the social, the spiritual world, the family life, the world of work, and the others that may be relevant. So we explore all those areas. And the reality of the process is it does not focus on the problem or the challenges, but rather focuses on the person and how we can enlighten and create expansion for leadership effectiveness. I think for me, it was really a process of checking in with the mentee. What is important to her? And what were the outcomes that she seeks to achieve from the process. In terms of the experience, I've realized that, fundamentally, we all experience the same challenges across the world. And I think that's very much aligned to what the outcomes of the mentee were. So we started working towards that. Yes, we looked at the guidance from ATAF to decide on themes, but ultimately the mentee was the individual who did the hard work. In other words, had observations, had practices, had exercises that had to be undertaken. And more importantly, we provided the mentee with the space to go in and look into the work environment and actually apply the learnings and the discussions that were taking place during the process. For me, what was important that in a mentoring coaching relationship is that we know the powerful questions we ask as coaches and mentors allows the individual to really look and reflect and create awareness because the answers lie with them. So it has been a fantastic experience for me. I really enjoy the mentee that has been assigned to me. I enjoy the discussions. I'm in deep gratitude for the fact that the individual then takes this very seriously and is committed to do the work. So Program Director, through you, I have spoken quite a lot, so I'm aware of time, and let me pause here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ramlal. So what we take from you is that the relationship between the mentor and the mentee is very important. And from where I sit, I know that not all of us are open to discuss social and spiritual and your family issues with someone. But I guess that is why you as a mentor is there for us. So it's also very, very important for us when we established this. It was important for us to look at the backgrounds of the mentors and the backgrounds of the mentees so that we can put the two together. And that is one thing that is standing out for me from what you just said, Ms. Ramlal. And I would really like to thank you again for sharing your experience with us. So next up, we are going to Lucky Star. Lucky Star, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much, Bernie. And it's a privilege and an honor to be here today. And congratulations again to ATAF and to all the women in tax who have joined us from various regions in Africa. I think I'll start from where Ms. Ramla left it. I think one of the things that happened during the mentorship process was that it was a long distance type of mentorship. And so agreeing on when to speak and having that initial call with a mentee was quite powerful to understand their different areas. I think in my case, it was very interesting because the mentee is not, let's say, a traditional line of taxation, which I think, as CJ was saying in her introduction, is that you come from a different type of tax. When we think about women in tax, sometimes we just think about the technical aspects of taxation, the Excel sheets, the transfer pricing, the international treaties and whatnot, but there are other areas in tax. And so when you have a mentee who's coming from, let's say, policy or procurement or other areas, how do you then encourage them to become an emerging leader? And I think in this area, it was about developing their abilities for where they want to transition, sharing a lot of details about where to find resources when it comes to, let's say there's a course that they would like to do, where can they find this as a resource, and sometimes even free courses online on international tax, which are some of the courses that that I did a couple of years ago when thinking also about transitioning into tax policy. I think agreeing on career goals development and understanding, you know, they say, where do you want to be in the next 5 years? I always say in 2 to 5 years, so that you have, you know, after 2020, we know that plans can easily change, and agreeing on where that person sees themselves, especially the trajectory in terms of growth within an institution. And I came to understand, because I work for an international development organization and my mentee is from a revenue authority, it works very different, you know, trying to get promotions within a revenue authority. So how do they navigate this and move? Because they were already quite high up within the revenue, but it was good for them to understand how to do this in terms of who do they network with, how do they present their successes, their performance indicators, and discussing this was quite helpful both ways, even for me. I think another thing was about the culture and building a productive culture when we network with each other, and also interpersonal relationships with our colleagues, because sometimes, you know, you might be seen as a threat, but you're asking questions, you're seeking growth. So interacting with a mentee to try and understand how they can be mentored even within their own institutions and not seem threatening, so to speak, or rather also articulate that the idea there is that they're seeking growth and to develop new areas of and abilities. And I think one thing that I've benefited from in the whole process has been also the networking, that it has increased my knowledge about the various sectors within revenue authority. There's people, you know, we assume that revenue is only about tax administration, but tax administration has a lot of layers and levels and opportunities also for development and conversations, understanding, I think, as has been said, the culture within revenue authorities, what drives them, helps the mentee-mentor relationship, because then you're able to expand on that in their area and in their field. And I think I'll stop by saying that let's not limit as women in tax our capabilities, that just because you work within a revenue authority, you cannot explore other areas of tax. And it's very good that we have Nana here, who I know is a policy person within a revenue authority, but also represents a continent within the UN tax committee meetings. We have meetings right now. My work is around tax and SDGs, and the idea is to to increase the expertise, especially of women, to articulate some of these issues. So let's not box ourselves only sitting within revenue administrations. We can expand. This is the great work that ATAF is doing to enable this. And I think the kind of networks we're creating to mentor each other, to be able to approach each other with a non-judgmental kind of focus is quite important. Thank you so much, Bernie. I'll hand back to you.
Thank you so much, Lucky Star. I think with that being said, what is important from what Lucky Star mentioned here is that we should not limit ourselves. We are not all of us from the tax administration, in tax policy, but we are also from other institutions. And it's important for us not to live in a little box where you don't want to learn and hear from other experiences. And Lucky Star, it was very interesting that you said that you also learned from your mentee, because I think some people would think that a mentee must only listen. That's the only thing you do. You must listen and you must action. But when there is a good relationship, and then when you have a good exchange, then especially within the cultures, and then it's good for you as a mentor to also know what the mentee is going through within the tax administration or in the workplace. And also, it's good that we look at the mentees' career goals and the development in this case. And Lucky Star, thank you so much for availing yourself. I really appreciate it. So now, listeners, I'm going to give opportunity for our two mentees. So we have Ms. Altaez Terefe, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And so Altaez is a development professional and works at the International Tax Compact, the ITC. She has a research interest in the topic of tax and development. She earned a PhD in law and economics with a special focus on taxation in sub-Saharan Africa from the University of Turin, also known as UNITO. And then we have Ms. Chinyama Pamela Nyirenda. She is currently the Acting Assistant Director in Customer Experience Unit of the Zambia Revenue Authority. She is leading a team of 80 staff establishment, and her role entails managing and coordinating the front office, overseeing taxpayer education, and outreach activities such as workshops, radio and television shows targeted at reducing the knowledge gap of taxpayers, both corporate and individual. Chinyama is a holder of a bachelor's of degree in business administration from the University of Lusaka, human resource management, and she is also a certified member of the Chartered Institute of Customer Management, the CICM. She's also in possession of an ATAF leadership certification, among other certifications. So, Altaez and Pamela, you've heard what the mentors had to say. So now the spotlight is on you. So what we basically want to know from you, share with us what you've gained from this mentorship program. And whether you've had some benefits thus far. Also, share your high moments and your low moments, please. Altaez, I'm going to give you the opportunity to start first.
I don't know if, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. I don't know if it was my internet, but I did not and share my gain from the mentorship experience first.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, please.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to talk about the gain that I have received from the pilot mentorship experience. by discussing my personal experience with the pilot mentorship program overall. So I have been part of this mentorship program since last March 2020, and I would say the overall experience of this mentorship program has been very enriching, both professionally and personally. So the most important part, the most important factor for me, which has made the whole experience very nice and fitting for my professional purposes, is the mentor and the mentee matching process. So after I applied to be part of the mentorship program, so I received a questionnaire from the ATAF Women in Tax Network with a list of questions that were designed to understand my needs and that were designed to find me and match me with the right mentor. So after completing my PhD, my goal in joining the network and also my interest to be part of the mentorship program is for me to navigate through and build a career in the tax and development sphere. So in light of this call that I put out when I wanted to be part of the mentorship, so I was matched with a mentor who has a decades-long work experience in the field of taxation. So my mentor in this field has worked both in the public and in the development sector and in the development cooperation sectors. And as such, I have been benefiting from her thematic knowledge in the tax and development field, as well as her deep understanding of the development sector where I am currently working in. So I believe that the mentorship has different unique characteristics compared to the ones I have been I have been a part of in the past. But the most one of the unique and the second most important factor, or the second most important benefit I believe I have gained from this mentorship experience is the fact that I was able to interact with women that's focused on this specific area of public finance. That's also my area of professional interest. So moving on to the mentorship process overall. So at the beginning of the mentorship period, my mentor and I, we defined a skill set that we are going to focus on for the mentorship period. And we have also identified gaps that we want to improve. So the skill sets and the gaps that I identified, and we agreed with my mentor that we are going to improve through the 6 months mentorship program. So some of the skill sets we identified at the beginning was like, for example, building and managing relationships, networking, presentation skills, interview skills, stress management, and so on. So we dedicated 1 to 2 mentorship sessions for each of the skills and topics, and we have worked to improve the gaps we have identified over at the beginning of the period. So over the past 6+ months, so we have met at least 2 to 3 times a month. And so based on the specific topic that we selected for each of the mentorship sessions, we had different conversations, both professional and personal. We have tried different exercises, different tasks, and also in carrying out all of this exercises and tasks, I believe that I have come a long way in terms of improving the gaps that we have identified in the skill set we have agreed on. So in relation to this, so the bigger picture of the mentorship experience for me is that, so in improving the gaps that we have selected at the beginning of the period, so the specific goal my mentor and I put at the end of the 6 months period was for me to find a medium-term position within the tax and development sector. So I was finishing my PhD. I was new to the labor market in general, and also I was particularly new to the tax and development sector. So we sought for me to achieve a medium-term position within the tax and development sector. And I'm very happy to report that we have actually succeeded in achieving this goal, as I have recently been offered a junior advisor position in an initiative that works in the tax and development sector. So overall, so I have managed, so my mentor over the past 6 months, she has helped me improve in a lot of in the different skill sets that we have identified. I have come a long way in terms of closing gaps and so on, but we have also succeeded in achieving the bigger picture that we sought to achieve at the end of the mentorship program. So Bernie, over to you.
Okay, thank you, LTH, for that and for sharing your experience as a mentee. I think that the matching worked for you, and also I also hear from what you said that you were able to put a program together, work towards it, and one of the most I think things that you've achieved, which is really great, is that you have been able to go into a position that would be able to take you further into your career in tax and development. Thank you for sharing that with us. Bernadine, back to you.
Oh, thank you so much. For a moment I couldn't hear Altahesh, but thank you so much for sharing that with us, Altahesh. So next up we have Pamela, Chinyama Pamela Nyirenda. Pamela, please share with us your experience and the highs and the lows, and whether this mentorship program actually worked for you during the past few months.
Okay, thank you, Bani. I hope you're able to see my video. I'm getting a notification that my network is a little bit low.
Yep.
So I hope you're able to see. Bani, can I get
you can go ahead, Pamela. We can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So I wish to first of all acknowledge people who have made me understand that they are. I wish to acknowledge especially ZRA management for affording me this opportunity to be nominated and be part of this great team, the team that is mentoring people out there and making us realize that we are actually living beyond our borders, and we can actually interact and network with people beyond our borders. I also want to take this opportunity to thank my mentor, Dr. Agnes, allow me to just mention her name, for her profoundly and excellence in the way that we did this mentorship session. I think the match for me was a perfect match. Thank you to the ATAF team for organizing this beautiful program and also for allowing me to speak at this conference. My one will be a bit different. I really want people to understand where I'm coming from. So I'm coming from this lady who was a bit shelved, a person who had low esteem, a person who never thought one day I would stand up and speak at such a conference and also give my testimonies to say, this is what I have done so far. So for me, this mentorship program has actually delivered that dream, which I never thought I would achieve. To say the least, the mentorship program has actually made me exceed the expectation. And when CG was talking, and for me, I just told myself, she's speaking to me. She's speaking to me. I think it's the act of faith that we all need to embrace and use to step in whenever we are posed with challenges. So yes, the mentorship program was well drawn. I would say kudos to the ATAF team. Each month had its own topic. It had its own theme. And for me and my mentor, what we did in each month, we looked at the summary pointers that the program was giving us and would try to exhaustively deal with those pointers. And beyond that, we would not just be theoretical about it, we would delve down into the practical aspect of it. And at this point, we would even go to a point where we are exchanging notes. You know, there's a month that we are talking about how to practice on interview panels and having CVs done. We literally had to do that so for us to get an appreciation of how it feels. Now, what made this matching more unique is that me and my mentor, we are both from the tax administration and we are both working for the Revenue Authority. So it just gave us a good platform to exchange notes that were similar and notes that actually enriched us in one or another. For me to spell out the benefits that I have realized from this from this interaction, I may need to stop myself at some point because the list is quite endless. It's long. So there's something that I told my mentor when we started the engagement. And the first thing I told her, I need help with document writing. And thanks be to God, this mentor, she is a good writer, Dr. Agnes. She's a good writer. So she made sure she pushed me in the way that we would write our logs. I think Nana can attest to it. We are quite thorough in the way that we would do our log. And what that has done for me with my work and execution of work is that I don't panic anymore. I don't stress anymore when it comes to document writing. Even if work comes to my table and they're asking me to do any form of work, I just know how to calm myself down and lay it down and deliver a good document. So for me, that's the biggest achievement that I've gotten from this program. The other issue that has really come out from this mentorship program is that of being confident. Prior to this, I would not switch on my camera and speak to people such as this in a very confident manner. So for me, this mentorship program has delivered for me. I'm able to take up any role now and execute the work as expected. At times, I even wonder to say, is that Chinyama who was speaking? I would try to pinch myself and understand that, yes, it's me, and I'm actually doing what is supposed to be done. The other issue that came out from our mentorship interactions is the importance of having the SWOT analysis done on oneself. I never knew that. Every time we would go for planning, every time we would go for any business fora, the SWOT analysis was always attributed to a business. Now, I understand that I need to carry out a SWOT analysis to understand what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses. Obviously, if I understand my strengths, then I'll overcome my weaknesses. So for me, that has actually delivered, and I thank my mentor for pushing that agenda and ATAF program. Now, the other thing that I have actually realized is that I have improved in my personal and leadership skills. When I started this mentorship program, I was working from the outskirts of the city. I was in the Copper. So even when I was being appointed by our board secretary, I was humbled in the first place because I was in the outskirts of town. Okay, so now what this mentorship has done for me in that space is that it sharpened my leadership skills. I was given a team initially, a team of 19 staff, which I was supposed to lead and give direction to. And I executed my program quite well. And management did notice that there was something different about me. So because of that, and because of my outstanding performance, my current supervisor was assigned to go for a program. And they had to nominate someone to come and sit in. And currently, I'm now occupying her office, and I'm acting as assistant director in the customer experience unit. So for me, again, this is something that I'm attributing to the mentorship, the manner in which I've carried myself, the manner in which I'm doing things differently has made me stand out. And well, thanks to management, has recognized my work. Last but not the least, the issue about personal branding. You know, before then, my mentor used to even laugh about this because for us, this was a song every month that would have our meeting. Branding for me came out to be something that was a game changer. I didn't realize how much branding and personal positioning would make an impact in one's life. I decided after we finished our mentorship session to go and rebrand myself. And I told my mentor to say, you are going to see a different me. I'm changing my wardrobe. I'm going to change how I pitch whenever I'm summoned, and I'll have a new look. And I just did that. And what that did, it boosted my confidence, it boosted my zeal, and I am able to carry myself confidently wherever I go. So as I have said, the list is quite endless. For me, this mentorship program has delivered. If anyone was to ask me, what I think about mentorship, it's a must-do. It's a must-do program. Benny, I think I have spoken too much. Allow me to just hand over to you and hear some reactions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pamela. Actually, you just gave me goosebumps. I mean, from just hearing of what the 5 main things that you mentioned, I really want to congratulate you on getting the boost and the confidence to actually go and being an acting assistant director. We are really, really proud of you, and please just push through, and you never know, one day, Pamela, CG, you never know. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
What I am taking from Pamela's experience here is that she mentioned 5 things, and the takings that she took from the mentorship program is basically she had a boost in her confidence, and she can take on anything and everything. It doesn't matter what people throw her way at this moment. Like Pamela said, that she in the past she never even switched on her camera, but because she is now confident in herself and confident to go out there and share with people her skills and experience, she got from the mentorship program. I also think that one other thing that she mentioned, that the analysis, the SWOT analysis, it's important for you to know your strengths and your weaknesses. And I'm happy to hear that they touched on that during their discussions that they had. And also personal branding, which is one of the important things to me as well, is that you have to go out there, be your own brand. And like Pamela said, that after all of this, what she's going to do is she's going to rebrand herself. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Varsha. And I would really like to thank the 2 mentors and mentees again for making time to have this conversation with our viewers and listeners. And then to the mentees out there, go for it, go for gold, and try a mentorship program. It, as you can hear and see from Pamela, just switching on the camera, it's the go-to thing. It's the thing to go. Thank you so much. Thank you, Varsha.
Thank you, Bernie, for that. And thank you to the mentors and mentees. At this point, before I hand over to Nana to conclude today's tax time, I want to just give the floor back to some of our mentors. So the CG, Zimra, Nirala, and Lucky Star, after hearing the mentees, do you have something that you want to leave the tax time with, as from your perspective as mentors? Nirala, do you want to start? And then I will hand over to the CG and then to Lucky Star.
Yes, thank you, Varsha. So I think the power and the hero lies within each individual. The role of the mentor/coach is to help the process and to facilitate the process of unleashing that hero within. So I really think that it is an opportunity for the future. It's about creating career progression and about living into the best version that you possibly can be. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Nirala. CG, to you.
Thank you. I think, Varsha, for me, this mentoring program is all about assisting people to get outside the box. And I'm excited that we are not just looking at tax administrations, but we are looking at the whole ecosystem of the tax administration. So I'm also challenged that beyond, what is it that lies beyond the tax administrations? So let's step out there. Be it you going to be the hero in the tax administration, be that. If you're going to step out and be the hero outside the tax administration, step out. So ladies, let's step out of the box. And the mentoring program with ATAF is gonna help us to get there. Thank you.
Thank you, CG. Lucky Star, to you.
Thanks so much, Basha, and don't know what to say after Ramla and CG, but I will say that one of the things that I fully love about the ATAF Women in Tax Network is that it's also setting examples. It's showing us that there are women who've gone through this, who have done it and continue to do it with excellence, with zeal. And it's a place where we know who we can turn to. So I think for me, the one thing to the mentees is that, and to the mentors is to be accessible, and to the mentees is, as was just said by the previous speaker, get rid of fear. Just approach. If you see someone going through a career path that you would like to go through, reach out. This platform has created such a huge network for me to be able to converse with women leaders who have really encouraged me to also grow and to also become a better mentor for other younger women in tax. Thanks so much, Basha.
Thank you, and thank you to all for sharing that with us. I think for me, the one thing that's definite is that this program is to stay in the ATAF Women in Tax Network calendar as an annual program, and we will be launching it again at the end of this year and calling for mentors and mentees. It also showed that, you know, each person that has been part of this program, we would look at you being mentors again, those mentors that have volunteered. And also for the mentees, you could become a mentor of the future. So we look forward to you joining the program as well. I think the important thing was about being authentic, that we have heard from the mentees as well as the mentors. So let's keep that. And I think what's very good about the ATAF Women in Tax Network is that it brings women in the field of taxation together, not just on tax administrations, not just in terms of tax policy. It also includes women from academia, civil society, international organizations, and all of us coming together. And for the mentees, I think this is a wonderful platform because you can see as you go through your career, there are various branches on this tax tree. So there is various areas that you can branch into. I'd like to just say that I started as a customs officer and worked in a tax administration for many years. And I then went to an international organization, and now I am at ATAF. So there is lots of opportunities for women in tax. So with that, I'm looking forward to the next mentorship program, and we're going to hear from Nana, who's going to tell us the exciting next steps in the ATAF Women in Tax Network. Over to you, Nana.
Thank you, Basha. And also as a fellow customs officer, it's nice to see that there are a lot of us on this call today. I also started my career in tax and customs before expanding to law and domestic tax. And I find that you're only limited by your imagination and by your willingness to work and to learn. So I'm very inspired now from hearing from CG. I can see that there's great prospects for customs ladies out there. And I'm looking forward to it. I also want to take the opportunity to thank all our mentors and mentees. This was our pilot program. So this was our first run at this. And I believe that all the successes we have were by virtue of the hard work and the commitment we had from our mentors and mentees. We did this when COVID was still, kind of still strong and going. And we did almost everything virtually. Most of our mentors and mentees have never met face to face. And yet they were able to communicate, they were able to impart and able to share such amazing stories with us today. I must say I've been inspired reading their logs and even hearing them today. It shows that a lot has gone into it, and it's by the dint of hard work that our mentors and mentees put into it. So I just want to give them a round of applause and thank them all for supporting this program and helping us get this far with it. It's not over yet. We still have our evaluation logs to complete. Those will be sent to you so that you can quickly complete. This is not going to be as detailed as your monthly logs and all the other logs you fill. This is more of a survey just to find out a bit more about your experience and also to get ideas on how we can improve going forward. This was, as we mentioned, a pilot program. So we know there were growing pains and you had a few issues, which please share with us, be honest, so that we can make sure that we improve year to year. We will be back to call on our mentors and our mentees to act as mentors in the future. We'll be opening the call for mentors shortly, and we will reach out to all the first cohorts. So we hope you'll be willing to come back, both the mentees as mentors now and then those who acted as mentors before. Of course, we'll be opening up the numbers now and we'll need your support going forward. So after the evaluation surveys are sent, we will let you know when the call for mentors will happen so that you can hopefully sign on for another ride with us. Generally as well, for all our membership and all interested participants in the work of the ATAF Women in Tax Network, I just wanted to give a brief update on some of the activities that will be happening for later in this year. Just at the end of October, the first week of November, the 31st of October, we will be having a program in coordination with the Addis Tax Initiative. It will be a side event during the ATAF General Assembly. We will have a talk on tax and gender. Sorry, we have a little, yes. We have a little unauthorized participant who's trying to make a bit of noise, sorry. So we'll be having a side event on the 31st of October. We'll be sharing a flyer in the chat. We hope everybody will be able to join and participate and hear from some of the ATAF Women in Tax members. Additionally, we'll be having our annual Women in Leadership program in the first week of December. This will be a virtual event. As again, this year, we hope that in the future we'll be able to do it face-to-face, but for this year to be a virtual event, it's open to all women in tax. Please join, participate. And last year was a wonderful event. There was a lot of idea sharing, a lot of inspiration, a lot of experience sharing. And a lot of people benefited greatly from it. I personally had a wonderful time. And I hope we have a wide participation as well this year going forward. As always, the ATAF Women in Tax Network is open to new members. We've only been around for about 2 years, but so far we've done a lot of good work and we hope to do more. And we hope to impact all women in tax or all women of African descent who are involved in the tax network. As Varsha pointed out, we are not just for tax administrations. We have members from civil society, from academia, from private sector, and we encourage a wide and diverse network of women to join so that we can have very, very intriguing and diverse conversations so that we can grow from being customs officers to being international tax policymakers to anything else that we may want to be. The sky is the limit. So thank you all for joining us today. Thank you all for being part of the mentorship program. And we hope that we will continue to see you at all the Women in Tax events going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Nana. And if I can ask all our mentees whose cameras are off to put it on again. And so Romeo, we can then conclude with the full videos on. Lucky, yeah. And Refilo. Okay, so thank you again for joining us on this tax time, which was a very important topic on mentorship and how it feeds into developing you as a leader. And please stay tuned. We will be coming with one more tax time before the end of 2022. And we look forward to seeing all of you in Lagos, Nigeria, at our General Assembly and the full week of ATAF activities, including tax agenda. Thank you, and thank you all for joining us today.